You expect me to believe you're a prince? Stop playing games with me. Amelia charged toward Javier, and he stepped back with a warning glare. Don't. The first slap is free, but hit me again and I'll take it you're flirting with me. No man or woman had ever dared to lay a hand on the prince. Day and night, he was surrounded by people-pleasers, eager to win his favor. So when Amelia slapped him, he felt both shock and fascination. Get over yourself and tell me who you really are. Javier sat down, feigning boredom. You have a phone. Google it, if you don't believe me. She wondered if this could be some sort of trick, then took out her phone and searched for the current Prince of Spain. Sure enough, there was his face in dozens of online entries. Javier Calderon, Prince of Spain. Staring at the screen, her head began to spin in disbelief. But how? A prince? His lips curled up into a sly smile. If you bow down, I might consider pardoning you for striking royalty. Amelia shot him a look of disdain. I'd sooner slap you again. She tried to make sense of this new information. If you're Spanish royalty, why are you in America? Exiled for being too smug? The prince narrowed his eyes. Apparently, she was a smartass too. I'm staying in town to lead a defense project with some U.S. collaborators and serve as a Spanish ambassador. But mostly I wanted to piss off my father by putting the Atlantic Ocean between us. Amelia leaned in. Your father, the king? Javier nodded. His answers only left her with bigger, more daunting questions. Okay, Prince Calderon, now that I know who you are, what is it that you want? Why choose now to show up on my doorstep? The prince straightened his back. Quite simply, I want my son. I'm his father. He should live with me. Amelia shot up like a lioness ready to protect her cub. You have no right to claim him. How selfish can you be to toss your child aside like trash and waltz in years later to wreck his life all over again? The prince stepped closer, his tone grave. Because, until last week, I didn't know Max existed. Javier peered into her eyes. I did not abandon my son, Amelia. I understand that you are hurt and angry, but it wasn't me who wronged you. You and I are both victims of a conspiracy to keep me in the dark about Max. Amelia tried to decipher Javier's face. Was this some story he invented to dodge culpability? What are you claiming doesn't make sense? We have a contract. You pay for child support every month. Someone has been paying you child support, just not from my pocket. Amelia pinched her brow. But I met with your lawyer. A sardonic chuckle escaped Javier's mouth. Apparently, Cortez's loyalties don't lie with me. He was following another master's orders. Amelia, I was never told you were with child, and I sure as hell was not consulted for that contract you signed. Silence hung in the air as Amelia sat with this information. She did not believe Javier's story. But what reason did she have to trust him? Staring at the floor in a somber daze, Amelia's voice came out pensive and quiet. And if you were told? She asked. 6 years ago, if you knew I was pregnant, what would you have done? Javier pursed his lips. I was in a different place in my life back then, but I'd like to believe I'd have done what I'm doing now. Just then, something occurred to her. Is my son safe? This conspiracy, who would go to all this trouble? It doesn't matter. It's over. And don't worry, Max is safe. Javier didn't feel comfortable sharing the identity of the puppeteer, but he knew exactly who it was and made sure to confront the guilty party. A week ago, when Prince Calderon was still in his home country, he barged into the king's study in a murderous rage. Give me one reason why I shouldn't strike you right now and commit treason. King Sebastian Calderon looked up from his paperwork, displeased to see his level-headed son so out of control. Javier, what is the meaning of this? Javier slammed a stack of papers down on his father's desk. Tell me this contract isn't what it looks like. Did I father a fucking child? The king removed his glasses with a heavy sigh. How did you find this? In a fit of rage, Javier shoved everything on his father's desk to the ground. Let's just say I smelt a rat on my team and went digging. How could you? And Cortez stooped so low as to hide this from me. Unapologetic, his father's tone was cavalier. You were too young to get trapped by some pedestrian American you dumped your seed into one night. Javier gave him a warning glare. That was not your choice to make. Javi, try to see the positives. Down the line, if you and your future wife struggle to produce an heir, you can rest assured knowing you have a son out there who can uphold the family line, if needed. The prince couldn't believe what he was hearing. That's what this is about. Your paranoid obsession with securing the royal line. The last couple of generations of Calderon had been plagued with infertility issues. It was a hereditary curse. Back when Javier's parents finally conceived him and his sister, it was no easy feat. So when word got back to Sebastian that Javier had gotten a girl pregnant, he saw one big advantage to supporting the unplanned pregnancy. Javier was disgusted. How dare you treat my son like some fallback plan? The prince snatched the contract and threw it into the fireplace. I'm going to the States to focus on the defense project. For the foreseeable future, my Miami villa will be my home base. Let this be the last time you interfere in my life. Sebastian's face grew stern. Javier, you can't afford to get distracted right now. We have too many plans in place. As Javier left his father's study, he turned to him with cold eyes. It'll do you good to remember I'm not my brother. Back in the present day, Javier's staff served dinner while Amelia processed the many revelations of the night. After another glass of wine, she was ready to speak her mind. Crown Prince Calderon? Just Javier, please. She straightened in her chair. Javier, if this conspiracy of yours is real, it is unfortunate we ended up tangled in this strange mess, but Max is all I have. And you have so much. I mean, just look at this place. I am open to you knowing your son, but you cannot take him from me. Javier sat back, his brow furrowed. Technically, Miss Rivera, both you and Max are contractually obligated to move in with me, if I so choose. Amelia's stomach dropped at the sound of this. But I'm a reasonable man. I won't force you into my home. Max, however, will be moving in with me. Amelia rose to her feet to protest, but he cut her off. You had him all to yourself for half a decade. It's my turn to make up for lost time. The nerve of this man. To think he can call the shots here just because he's a prince? Her resentment started to boil. Maybe lost time is your karma for seducing a girl on her birthday and ditching her the next morning. Javier clenched his jaw and didn't respond. You can't remove a child from the only home he's known. His air of superiority came back. Kids are quick to adapt. His quality of life will be better here with me. For starters, that apartment building of yours is a death trap. You got stuck in the elevator for how long? Not to mention, it took my men no time to access your apartment and abduct Max. Amelia rolled her eyes. Abducting your own son isn't something to gloat about. Javier leveled with her. It is not a secure building. And I have endless resources at my disposal to offer Max. World-renowned chefs that can cook him fresh, nutritious meals, the finest doctors on speed dial, a real yard the boy can play in, and a security team to keep eyes on him at all times. So don't pretend Max would benefit more from living in that shabby building of yours. This man was so rude. But it was hard to argue with all the amazing things he could provide for their son. She wanted the best for Max and wondered if it'd be selfish for her to deny him all of that, just to keep him by her side. But at the end of the day, she wasn't comfortable in trusting Max in his care. Look, I know you can give Max the best, and he deserves that. I just can't, in good conscience, send my son to live with a stranger without my supervision. A teasing smirk crossed his face. Stranger. I'd argue that you and I know each other rather intimately. This prince had no shame in bringing up their sordid past at a time like this. Noticing her blush despite herself, he grinned. But I agree with your idea. Let's do that. She knew something was off when he agreed with her. Wait, what idea? Javier sat back and crossed his legs. You said you'll only let Max live here if you move in with him to supervise. So fine. I'll open my doors to you. I prefer my son to grow up in a two-parent household anyway. That certainly was not what she meant. You're twisting my words around. He smiled like the devil himself. Didn't you say that Max deserves all the best that I can offer? Then what's the problem, Amelia? The problem was that this prince was a sneaky bully. He had used her words against her, and the worst part was, he was right. The only way to give their son the best of both worlds would be to let him live in Javier's villa under her supervision. But was she really going to live with this man? Before she'd agreed to this twisted compromise, she needed to set some ground rules. His Royal Highness estate is significantly far from my internship, so if I am to make my stay here work, I will need access to one of your chauffeurs. A glint appeared in Javier's eyes. Ah, are we setting terms? How thrilling. Sure, you can use the cars. Amelia tightened her gaze on him. And I want you to stop stalking me. He tightened his eyes right back. Who said I was stalking you? The gall he had to deny it. Your Highness, you know where I live. My dress size, my shoe size. Javier groaned. In my industry, that's not stalking. It's called gathering intel. But fine, I wouldn't want my son's mother to be uncomfortable. On that note, Amelia thought of one last item. And I'd like my room to be in a private wing, preferably whichever bedroom is the farthest from yours. Javier cocked his head. This woman really was something else. He had models, heiresses, and literal princesses vying for his attention. Yet Amelia acted bothered to share the same air as him. You know that contract you signed legally requires you to share my bed with me. As part of my negotiations, I think that's one line item I'd like to enforce.